ideal process, but it may be, and we can talk about those initiatives as well, because they're both very flawed.
Okay.
Thank you, all of you, for your time. I don't know about the rest of you, but that is the fastest hour of the morning for me. Every single year I can listen to these guys on literally all day. So we could just keep you up. All right. So for those of you who do have questions, please line up over there. If you would prefer to have your question read by one of our mic controllers, they can do that too. Just raise your hand and we'll come pick up your card.
Thank you for coming today. I'm Jean Fulmer, and I'm on the school board in Lafayette. And my question surrounds adequacy with LCFF. Since LCFF does not address adequacy, and districts like mine are not benefiting from LCFF, in fact, we're deficit spending every year and quickly running through our reserve, despite the fact that we do have parcel taxes and a healthy education foundation. I'd like to know, where are we with moving to a 55% threshold for parcel taxes? I know Mark Leno was looking at that. And is there still talk about the possibility of addressing the commercial piece of 13? I know Phil Ting was interested in that. Thank you.
There's interest, but there's a huge gap between, I think, interest and also the need that you're touching with both of those issues, and then the reality of what is going to be doable in an election year, frankly, and then also in terms of the mood of the voters of California. I think that what we consistently hear when we start talking about Proposition 13 and a split roll is that we just have not yet made the case to the voters and the people here in California of why that is necessary and how it would be handled. So we need to really work, I believe, with the business community to talk about making it more equal, that homeowners shouldn't be the ones bearing the burden of all the property tax, and businesses shouldn't have been able to manipulate the system the way they have. So we have a lot of work to do on that, and also with lowering the threshold. It's, in our house we do have a 2/3 majority, but it's a tenuous super majority. Some of our members are coming out of strongly anti-tax regions. They would not be put in a position by leadership to take that vote in a re-election, and for many of them, this is their first term. So they're up for their first re-election. So the idea of putting them to the test in front of a voting community in Orange County or in other parts of the valley or parts of the inland areas would really be political suicide for many of those new Democrats that have come into the assembly. So I think that 15 is the year where we can really seriously have that discussion in the legislature.
I've supported every bill to lower the threshold to 55%, and it might be a tough vote for some legislators, but I'm not so sure we wouldn't get it out. And I'm happy to share with your leadership here. The problem is that when you look at the polling on 55%, it's miserable. It's down in the high 40s, low 50s, and the rule of thumb is you need to start at 60 to get it 50. So we may need to figure out a longer-term strategy. Getting to Prop 39 and the 55% for school facilities, I think, took three different times going before for the ballot. We tried a simple majority vote and couldn't get that, and we finally got it at 55. With respect to the split roll and commercial property taxes, years ago when I was a kid, some of you were kids, business, commercial property, their taxes represented 2/3 of the total tax roll, residential 1/3, that's flipped. And we do know that some of our large businesses, they don't turn over. So whereas residential turns over, it doesn't. My only concern and that doesn't poll well, by the way. That poll is much, much worse than the 55%. And I guarantee you the chamber, if it had to put $100 million into fighting it, would do so. So it's an even bigger sell. My only concern, frankly, is to make sure that I'm not hurting the mom and pop businesses down the street, but we're targeting really those big commercial businesses that, where the stocks the stock turns over, but the actual ownership in terms of the title doesn't.
I agree with everything both Susan and Joan have said. I think at some point the state has to really look at how we raise revenue for services. I use the expression Winchester House when it comes to the Constitution. We keep adding these formulas that in a world that's changed so much. So Rick Simpson, who's the Assembly's budget chief staff person, talks about our tax system is based on an old manufacturing economy, and our world has changed. So at some point we have to talk about how we raise revenue in this state and do it more efficiently.
Hi, my name's Nancy Wallace, and I'm a member of the Lafayette School District Governing Board. And as my fellow member just indicated, we're one of those districts that's not receiving any additional funding under LCFF. So my question is, if each of you would please talk about the role of the basic aid districts in the LCFF. It seems to me that the goal of LCFF is to lessen the gap between the haves and the have-nots, but it's exempting those districts that are obviously have the most. And I want to understand better why it seems to be the middle class that's supporting the lower income, but the upper class is exempt from that, and wouldn't including the basic aid districts help us better address our high-needs students and communities and have more money available for that?
I don't think any of us would disagree with you. I think, one thing that on the questions that both of you had asked, I think everybody in the Bay Area delegation supports what you're suggesting. It's the people from more conservative inland areas. To be fair to them, they have less revenue. So your comment about middle-income people, we